Hi, and welcome to the Spiritual Principles Made Practical podcast. Today, it's all about being one. And it's pretty clear to me why and how I select and am inspired as to what to share about. It's whatever raises my energy above a level where there's no more stress, and I'm confident, and I'm in the present moment, and I'm spontaneous and not self-conscious, and happy and inspired and energetic and aligned and all the good things I experience. And certainly focusing on being one checks all of those boxes. And that's why I'm so interested in being one. And there's so many different aspects to what it is to be one. For a long time, and to some extent even still now, there are a lot of aspects of being one that I don't relate to. But one of the things that has really proven true over the years is that the most efficient way forward for me is to have a greater acceptance and awareness of where I'm at right now. So where I'm at right now in relation to being one is I'm in the present moment, I'm spontaneous, I feel great, I focus on win-win solutions, I am not self-conscious, I am not afraid of here's a big one for me. I'm not afraid of what other people will think. So I don't hold myself back in fear of like, you know what, that old thing of like, if they really knew who I really was, they wouldn't have anything to do with me fear. Yeah, well, I have that sometimes where I think, you know what, if they knew that I thought that I was one with all things, including being one with God, that, people would write me off as like, this guy's too out there for me, And so, but squelching that creates the suffering, and it deprives me of all the benefits of being one and spontaneous and joyful and healthy and energetic and all of the good things. So, you know what? I'm going to take the risk and do it. What else? There's a reflection of being one. And part of the fruition of what it is to be one is that there's an alignment in the outer world of the projection of being one in the inner world. And I have to make sure that I don't restrict that. And so it means taking ownership of the fact that I'm inspired to coach world leaders in accepting their wholeness and having their leadership reflect their acceptance of their wholeness and win-win solutions, and the idea that, what we do to anybody, we do to ourselves because we are all one. And that I have the ability to make that happen, to be able to attract those world leaders as clients and to be successful in coaching them in accepting their wholeness and be successful in them sharing that wholeness in their leadership in a way that benefits everybody. And I really believe that I'm capable of doing that, and I'm not going to hold back, because holding back would be emblematic of me being afraid to be me. And so that would be destroying on the inside, right? Because to be happy and whole and complete and enlightened and all that other stuff, I need to be me. And that means that I can't restrict being me in the outer world for fear of what will happen, because then that's acting on fear, and who I really am doesn't do that. And that's why, it has to be okay for me to say, okay, I'll allow the reflection of my acceptance of my wholeness to appear in the outer world, that I'll allow that to occur. I'll stop fighting against it. And I know that the more that I articulate how, the reflection of being one, in that, if enough people told Putin that no amount of power over others is going to satisfy his need for power, the only thing that will do that is power over himself, then he'd be willing to give up this idea of trying to reconstitute the USSR and then some. Trust me, if Putin could have his way, I mean, he'd be another Hitler and rule the whole world, right? I mean, he's figuring out how, right? And the reason is that outer power never ever satisfies the need for power. It's only power over ourselves that does that. And if he really understood that, and if that really message really got through to him, he wouldn't be waging war in Ukraine, and he wouldn't be looking to, determine, who's next. Is it Poland or somebody else, right? And similarly, if people understood that, what we do to others, we do to ourselves, we wouldn't have Congress in this gridlock that they are. They would be looking and dedicated to ways to, like, for example, the border immigration law, right? Everybody agrees that it's problematic and needs to be revised. That's the only thing that everybody agrees on. And then when they come to an agreement and they're about to get it done, at least some progress in that direction, then it gets derailed, right? And, because they don't want the other side to be able to take credit for affecting at least a partial solution, if not a complete solution, to our immigration problems. And that's because, they're looking at zero-sum thinking, right? They feel that that if one political party wins and the other political party loses, and they're not looking at the fact that what they want to do is they should want to win, and what winning is making the country better. And that if they campaign on how they were able to make the country better, they'd probably have a better chance of getting reelected than campaigning about, all the problems are the other guy's fault, right? Would you rather vote for somebody who said all the problems are the other guy's fault? Or would you rather vote for somebody that actually solved some problems, right? And that's the difference between zero-sum and thinking and win-win thinking. And that's part of win-win thinking, is part of what it is to be one, because you understand that we all rise and fall together because we're all one. I wrote a book entitled Transitioning from Zero-Sum to Win-Win Thinking that goes into lots and lots of this stuff. And basically, there's not going to be any peace until we accept win-win thinking as a dominant mode of thinking and solutions in the world, because it's true, right? The truth is we are all one. Everything we do does affect one another, right? I mean, there's, when they talk about climate change, it's a global phenomenon, right? I mean, it affects the whole world, right? I mean, we have trade, and trade affects the whole world. There are more and more evidence all the time that we live in a global community, and that what happens to one happens to all in some form or fashion. And the more honest we are with ourselves, the more we see those connections that we are all one. And so that's part of accepting the fact that I'm one with all things, is articulating more and more ways how the fact that we're all one shows up in our understanding of the world. And in particular, the solutions to the world's problems, all 100%, no exceptions, exist within the context of understanding that we're all one and we all rise and fall together. And so, that's why I want to coach, world leaders in that, because that's the only real solution to the world's problems. And that wisdom resides in everybody, right? It doesn't just reside in me, or it doesn't just reside in world leaders or other people. It resides in you and you and you and you and you and everybody else. The fact that we're all one is part of us all. It's not something we have to create. It's not something, that doesn't already exist. It's always existed. The idea that we're one is the oldest thought, the oldest perspective that has ever existed. It's existed at least as long as time itself, maybe longer. And so, again, it's not something that has to be created. It's something that has to stop being denied. Okay. It's like love and joy. Okay. When we're whole and complete, we realize that we've always been love and joy. What we've done, unfortunately, to some extent, is blind ourselves to the experience of the love and the joy and the wisdom and the power and the creativity that we are. It's not a matter of creating it within ourselves. It's already been there all along. It's a matter of just being open to noticing that it's there and always been there. And that's what I'm working on with myself is to clear away the obstacles, right? The faulty thinking that obscures my experience of the fact that I've always been one. I've always been happy. I've always been joyful. Now, there's people that, if you ask them, has Scott always been happy and joyful and loving and everything? They're going to go. And that's because my experience has been blinded, tainted, obscured by faulty thinking. And so I'm looking at healing that faulty thinking through acceptance so that I can experience more of that love and that joy and that happiness that I've always been, but haven't always been conscious of. And increasingly, as I share more and more about being one, I'm like, yeah, man, this is it. I'm feeling the power now. And the obstacles to experiencing that joy and that love and that power and that creativity and that self-confidence and that inspiration and that wisdom and all those solutions, that's becoming more and more accessible to me consciously. And that is exciting stuff. And that is all part and parcel of what it is to be one. And so that's a good thing. And that's why I'm focused on it, because it raises my spirits, right? And I'm in favor of anything that raises my spirits. And I can help you raise your spirits too, because I do thought coaching, right? And it's the incorrect thoughts that we have that obscure our awareness of our wisdom, our brilliance, our power, our love, our joy, our creativity. And by being aware of what our thoughts are, they automatically improve and they obscure less and less and less of our awareness that we're one and that we contain all the power, wisdom, joy, love, happiness, peace, self-confidence that could ever exist. And we always have. Each one of us is the repository of all of it. And you say, well, that doesn't make sense, but that's zero-sum thinking that says it doesn't make sense. Win-win thinking says I'm part of the whole, and of course the whole contains everything. And that's the thinking that allows that energy to express itself in the physical world. So anyway, if you're interested in that kind of coaching, I offer it. You can contact me at scottfriedman40@gmail.com, and we'll get it set up. And my books, including transitioning from zero sum to win-win thinking, which, boy, I'm telling you, if the world ever needs a book, it's that one, because we really do need to transfer or transition from zero sum to win-win thinking in the world. And the more examples there are of people doing it, the more I do it, the more you do it, the more the next guy does it, the more it catches hold, because we're enthused, we're excited about it. We go like, oh my God, it's true. There really are win-win solutions to everything, and our excitement is contagious and our wisdom is contagious because it resonates that same light and wisdom in other people. It doesn't create it in them, it's there, but it resonates in it and supports it coming to the surface and being expressed. So if you're interested in that book, or I have another book called Being One, and it delves into more and more about what and how to experience more of being one. All those books, and there's 13 of them actually, that are available on Amazon, and you can find links to those books on my website, www.thoughtcoachingbyscott.com. And so let's all open up to being more aware of our thinking so that it obscures our direct experience of being present, confident, creative, powerful, joyful, loving, compassionate to the max. Let's do that. Okay, so I'll leave you with that thought, and let's get to it and do it.